Welcome to Michelle's Opinions. As we are walking out this together, changes are all around us. As we grow into this new understanding, we learn we are limitless and find tools for growth. We share what we have experienced to teach you to be the sovereign being you are. Welcome to the family. Hey guys, welcome to Michelle's Opinions. Today we have Sharon with us from the UK. I'll let her tell a little bit about herself, and I will pull up the live chat so we can see what you guys have to say. Sharon?
Hi guys. I've got a channel on YouTube. I started it about 4 years ago. I talk about coming out of Christianity and my spiritual awakening that I had 4 years ago. I talk about many topics, including the Mandela effect, timeline jumping, quantum shifts, religions. I'm basically just starting up, and I hope to make my channel a bit more professional by the end of the year. And I'm hoping to collect people around the world and interview them about their spiritual experiences. So
nice. So
that's where
yeah.
I'm at.
And also want to tell you guys that her channel information is in the show more notes, so you can see that down there for you. And she'll be found on my homepage under the interviewed, where the featured channels used to go or do go on a lot of different channels, but I made it for the interviewed people so they're easy to find, so you can subscribe to them. As we all resonate with get different affirmations, different synchronicities. I like to bring on a diverse group of sharing what they're going through. So, there's a fit for everyone. I'm kind of a blend. I see affirmations within everybody. I see synchronicities within everybody. I see unity and diversity. I see the beauty in different cultures. So I really enjoyed doing this with you guys. So let's start with Sharon. When did you have your, what we would call wake up or spiritual cleansing, or your aha moment? Were you awake your entire life? Was there a moment of clarity for you? And we'll start from there and move on.
Okay. I've always been looking for the divine. I've always had something in me that wants to know what life's about, and if we have a creator. It started off when I was 25. It started off basically when I was 15. My father passed away. It was a very, very traumatic time in my life, and I wanted to know where he'd gone, whether there was an afterlife, and I started looking into Jehovah's Witnesses, a little bit of Buddhism. And even though my family are Irish, I had a Catholic christening, but my family didn't really follow Catholicism. It came about at the age of 25 when I met some Christians, and I was introduced to a church, the Bible, and Jesus Christ.
Okay.
At that time of searching and reading the Bible, I started to go within and pray, which is something I hadn't done in my life. What actually happened is I had a spiritual experience that was very profound. And I started to go to church. Now, this went on and off for about 15 years. But the last 5 years, I was questioning Christianity and the Bible, because I couldn't understand that there was a God that was vengeful and jealous, and yet he was supposed to be a God of love. I couldn't understand that he was a jealous God when there was nothing to be jealous of, because apparently everything that he had created, you know, what would he have to be jealous about, because it was his own creation.
That's right.
I started to question the Bible and Christians themselves. You know, we were judging other people. The hell concept was just very alien to me. I couldn't believe that a God that was a God of love would send people to hell. And in the fact that I'd lost my father and many other people in my life, I couldn't understand why God wanted me to forgive others while he tormented his in hell. And there was just many, many things. And I was in church the one day worshipping. And as I was worshipping, I just thought, I said, I can't do this anymore. This God that I'm worshipping, I actually was saying it to the God that I thought I was worshipping. I said, I can't do this anymore. I can't keep up with your standards of trying to be pure. I don't think you're very loving, and I'm going to leave Christianity.
That doesn't sound like unconditional love, does it?
No,
Sharon, there's a question asking what part of the UK you are from.
Worcestershire.
Okay.
Worcestershire, yeah.
Okay, so about 25 years ago, you found Christianity. And how long did it take for you to start having these revelations of, you know, a bipolar God, basically?
Okay, I think it was for the whole 15 years, really. There was an undercurrent running through me that I knew something was off.
Mm.
But because of the acceptance at church, because I'd had a spiritual experience, I thought that this was the truth. You know, I thought, wow, I've actually found God. Well, when I eventually walked out of the church, I was very, very depressed. I thought, I've left Christianity now, I've left God. I had a mindset that now I'm probably going to go to hell. And I'd just basically given up on my life. I really didn't want to carry on anymore. The next day, I had a very supernatural, what people call a spontaneous spiritual awakening, and it was so, so powerful. I woke up feeling that there were other light beings in my bedroom. I felt beings all around me. I felt this tremendous love. I had downloads within seconds and minutes of tribulation and war and everything that was going on in the world. And at the time, I didn't understand what was happening. I had, I'm just trying to go over. It's 4 years ago, and I've got some notes here.
Okay, so basically there was something nudging at you that something wasn't quite right the entire
Yeah,
time that you were under this religious banner, and then about 4 years ago, uh, in with getting downloads, uh,
yeah.
the truth came out, and
Came out.
it really does make you question when you're talking about all forgiveness, unconditional love, and then you're looking at, okay, there's conditions to this. I need to do this in order to be
Yeah,
pleasing to God.
yeah,
So it's a paradox there. It just seems like a
definitely.
bipolar God. I mean,
Yeah, bipolar God.
yeah. So, hey, you want to say, let's say hello while we'll get into what happened 4 years ago, and shifts and in the quantum and all this wonderful stuff that you have to share with us. Okay, let's see. We got the carp, we've got redwoods, we've got Mill's table talk, Adam, and I thought, oh, hang on, I got to arrow down. Sorry, Olivia, Magi. Hello, everybody. Thank you for coming. We
Hi,
appreciate it very,
everyone.
very much. And Ice Blake, hi, y'all. Okay, so 4 years ago, and I was actually perusing your channel a bit and very interested. And there was a video that you made about downloads, shifts, and the quantum, and you have a wealth of understanding to share with people, and this all came about within that 4 year ago shift, or
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
then let's go on from there. You said you
So
made some notes. Cool.
yeah, so I kept having all these downloads, light beings. Time literally stopped. I couldn't hear anything outside. I couldn't hear a car. I couldn't hear a little child running around. Everything. It was as if time just stopped. It was a very, very supernatural experience that went on very intensely for 3 days. It went on for I'd say about a month after that, but the intenseness was for 3 days. I was lying in bed, and this is when I discovered my multi-dimensional self. I was lying in bed, but I'd got up and I'd gone into the kitchen and I was doing things in the kitchen, but I was still lying on my bed. I was starting to really freak out at this point. And at the time, because I still had religious connotations, I was praying to God and asking what was going on. And but the downloads just kept coming. I felt very clearly from source. I call it source creator God. Source creator now, not God, because there's so many gods, and
Right.
I felt
The label doesn't
source.
matter. It's just
Yeah,
yeah, it's you just know that you're so unconditionally loved by
yeah.
this being, that all the labels drop away, and it's just such a beautiful thing, and the understandings that we get. Okay, so don't worry
So
about the labels. We're label
yeah,
free
yeah.
here.
So I'm looking at the right side, in your peripheral vision, and I'm seeing tribulation, and in the left, I'm seeing the tree of life. Now, these were open visions. I saw the future cities that I can't explain. You see, because of the energy that is sort of circling like this, when your mind is expanded, you'll kind of live in the past, present, and future. And that's what I was experiencing. I was experiencing the past of the tribulations and all the wars and everything that had happened to humanity. And at the same time, I was experiencing the future of humanity and seeing these very beautiful cities that were very eco-friendly, and it looked very, very spacey. And this is all while I was in the present moment. The voice kept telling me that I was in the kingdom now, that I was being pulled into the kingdom. I started shifting timelines or parallel universes, whatever you want to call it, in the fact that every time I touched water or I had a bath, it would intensify in the fact that in one moment I had an experience where I was in a timeline where I didn't have any children, and I literally freaked out and was praying to God saying, what's happening, what's happening? And then that brought me back into the present moment. It was just an absolute 3 days of supernatural phenomenons. It's really hard to even put into words.
Yeah, what I call it is we go to a place that's not a place at a time that's not time. We're outside of time and we can see. And and through all this chaos, it's like the refinement people, the refinement period people are going through, and discovering themselves and the sovereign beings that we are and how we affect one another with like the flower of life on the quantum level. And this is not the end, this is the beginning. So by seeing a beautiful future, that's what keeps us going, because it seems like it's a common thing that we see, is that with that there's that hope, because even though we see all this chaos around us, I turn the news off because it's news broadcasting, but just by getting a glimpse, and you're right, it's indescribable. A lot of things that we're seeing, it's like you can't put it to words, it wouldn't do it justice. But it's so beautiful, it is so beyond our comprehension, that we can't put words to it, but it brings us, our heart just gets warmed up, it just expands and restores that hope within each and every one of us. Okay, continue.
So I started to go online and try and find out what was happening to me. I put in something on the internet, something like Christians coming out of church, Christians open visions. I was just putting anything in to try and find out what the hell was going on. And miraculously, I came across Anna Grace. I know you've had her on your channel, from Mind Forward. She had a following at the time from Christians that had come out of the church and had a spiritual awakening. And so she was there ready for me, and it was just fantastic.
Did you happen to be there as she videoed her like transformation?
Yes, I went through all of it.
Yeah, we're continuing to grow daily. It's a continuation process, but she videoed herself going through, the judgment period and putting even Pershas over her head and going through the law and all of those, restrictions. And then she popped out. When the truth rushed into her, she popped out, and then she took them all down. But, for educational purposes,
I know,
that would have been so wonderful, but she didn't just take them down, she deleted them.
I know.
And she did not want to spread false doctrine. I mean, I understand why she did it.
Yeah.
It's just, and I waited. It's been 17 years. It started 2001. And then in 2012, it really ramped up with a bonk over the head and a total spiritual awakening. And it took me a long time to come out and talk about this because I did not want to lead people astray or cause them to fall down these rabbit holes that I struggled with myself. So yes, that's where my compassion comes in on why she took them down. But my gosh, it would have been really nice even if she just took clips of each of them and made like an hour and a half long uh,
Yeah,
educational film to show
yeah,
people the transition that she went through, and then along with showing where she's at now and how wonderful and I mean she glows now. It's just wonderful. But okay, enough about Anna. This is about you.
so basically, Anna was explaining about coming out of religion and that you're having a spiritual awakening. And I started to do my own research on the Bible, and I sort of went into the New Age community, looking at some of that. Went down a few rabbit holes, conspiracy rabbit holes, as we all do. I'm sure we've all done that. And then, realised that, Jesus was just a man, and that he encompassed the Christ, of course, and was the Son of Man. But the Christ being now, I see as a cosmic being, as the Father that encompasses every man, because it does say in the Bible, Jesus Christ is the light that lights up every man. Um,
It also says that the divine breath of life, if we're breathing, we have that divine breath of life. So
yeah,
there's some,
yeah,
if you peel through and you can read it and discern it with the proper ways. I look at the Bible now as a transformation of what we go through. We're that wrathful, jealous, person, and we go through the refinement period and we come out, or we're, being refined to being unconditionally loving towards everybody. We want our sovereignty, and with our sovereignty comes responsibility for what actions we do, how it affects people, that are quantumly entangled around us.
yeah.
And it's just, it's an amazing revelation to come to. And I haven't met anybody that's been through this refinement process that's popped out that wants to do harm to anybody. I
No.
mean, a lot of people won't even eat meat anymore because they don't want to harm any living thing. So it is a change.
Oh,
People,
definitely.
yeah. So
It,
you want to talk a little bit about that, or where do you want
it's
to?
it yeah, it's not an easy road. I know the New Age community talks about love and light all the time, and yes, there is love and light, but it's been a hard journey, because we're in a refining fire, and things are being burnt up. Things that we thought we knew about ourselves aren't necessarily who we really are. So yeah, it's been a crazy journey, and quite lonely as well, when people don't understand where you're coming from. Um, but the Christ consciousness is available to everybody. The consciousness that humanity has had from the beginning of time up until, I don't know, 100 years ago. The Christ consciousness is available to everybody, and it's just that some people are. If Christ consciousness was from 1 to 100, some people are operating from 1 to 50, and the Christ consciousness is, say, from 50 to 100. And so we're able to access more. That's why we're waking up and we're expanding. And some people just don't understand it, but I've had friends fall away from me, because they just don't get it, and it's not their fault. You know, their time will come.
Yeah.
You know,
What did you think about the 2015, 2016 huge awakening? I mean, that made like I got a lot of hope restored at that time when so many people, by the Mandela effect or flat earth, whatever process they're going through to waking up, it showed like a huge pop up of a bunch of people. I feel like 2018, that's going to happen again. And I think it's
really.
happening, on a daily basis. More people are waking up, but you
Yeah.
still got to go through that process. And we're, able to see the process that people are going through, kind of where they're at in the process, because we've been there ourselves. So
Yes, exactly.
it's not stuff that we didn't have to get down and dirty with ourselves by going through it. It's just, and still going through it. It's, but at least we have the compassion for it and the patience. And that's because we've been there. We understand. And, by doing these interviews and putting out content for people, it's to help them to understand that, they're not alone. That was one
Yes.
thing that the isolation, and you're right
Yes.
with the no one understanding what's going on. You feel so alone in it. But now there's so many platforms. They kind of get stuck on a topic, and that's kind of sad because then they don't move forward. But I have to say, and we'll bring up Anna again, that she went through the process. She videoed it. Wish that she would have, even if she, instead of taking them down, just made them private, and then she could have made some kind of compilation or whatever. But she still puts content out about, and it's called Mind Forward. So it's showing that she's still continuing to grow, and we have to learn to walk in this and apply what we're learning into our life, which is another part of the process. So yeah, and I know you have some knowledge on shifts, or you were talking about downloads earlier, and shifts and quantum entanglement, and so pick where you want to go, and we'll just flow. Let me Before we do that, let me check because I've been in Hangouts, and let's see if we've got any new people to say hello to, or any questions from the chat. Okay, we've got. All right, let's see. Olivia Luke. I don't know if I mentioned her before. Okay, the carp. I'm just going to read them down. T. Taylor, Bob Bant, Glowing's Me, Magi, Adam Left Fence, huh? Wow, interesting. We'll have to talk about what that name is all about. I like things that, as Bob Bant would say, activate. It's activating. And if you guys have any questions, just at my name. Are you in the chat right now, or are you? I don't think she could be in the chat at the same time with the device she's using. So if you have a question for Sharon, just at my name and I will ask her for you. She has also come into. We have a forum. It's a chat forum. It's called Flame, and that you met me through Anna, and you subscribed immediately. And I think you came into Flame.
Yes.
Don't have. I wish I had more time to spend in there, because they are a group of wonderful people, and but with them, I'm trying to learn to budget my time, but I'm still new, so I'm learning a lot of software and studies and applying it, and so it just takes it's work. I mean, I'm not gonna joke around. It's work. So but it makes the presentations better for people that are viewing. And this place is about everybody, and I want to try to give it the best that I can do to make it better for everybody here. And we were going to talk about, but let's not even worry about that. I'll do a separate little short video on what the YouTube problems that we're facing. And I really think that, you know, when we put that into light and we all come together, because this place is fluid, it is malleable, that we could change that, and where the voices of the peacemakers are heard and people don't have trouble with, you know, them being unsubscribed without, you know, they make a choice to subscribe, but then they're automatically unsubscribed. And that kind of stuff is just, it's really kind of weird. But I don't know. I mean, I don't know what the algorithms would have to do with making a choice for you to unsubscribe to a choice that you made. That one's really blowing my mind. But okay. So if you want to talk about shifts, quantum entanglement, wherever you want to go.
Yeah,
And
I actually think that we can shift different timelines. You know, we can actually shift to a better timeline for ourselves and live on the best timeline for us. You know, through meditation and through actually feeling and living out that experience. You know, we can actually shift our reality, because everybody's living in their own reality and their own universe. It's funny how, you know, the double split experiment, for instance, where nothing moves unless it's being observed, you know, and that kind of tells us that reality is fluid, that we can move it. There was a story that one of Anna's subscribers told, and that was when she awoke. She did a meditation, and she felt like somebody had grabbed her in the meditation and took her back to when she was a baby in the hospital. And she said that she became a blue light. Now, she went back to the baby, which was herself, in the hospital, and went to look at herself as a baby. And she was a blue light, and then in the meditation, she came back. Well, when she came out of the meditation, she remembered her mom saying when she was a baby that she was very sick as a baby, and there was a blue light that came in the window. Now, that was her in the future. So did she meditate and go back to herself as a baby and heal herself?
so
You
that
see,
shows the concept of no time, because she
there's no
meditated
time.
now and went back in and
Yeah.
saved herself. So that way,
Yes.
wow, mind
So
bending.
on the quantum aspect and timelines and parallel universe and all this, can we actually heal our past? You know, and can we actually talk to our future selves and get
Are
some
we talking to
advice?
our future
Are we talking
selves?
to our future self?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very, very interesting. I'm very interested in quantum physics and time travel and things like that,
Yeah.
because she did actually time travel. You know, when you look at it on that aspect,
But she was an energy ball.
she
She
was an energy
time
ball.
traveled, but her energy, her
Yeah,
essence
yeah,
is what was there. So, you know, when people are seeing orbs and things like that around them, are they
yes,
seeing, you know, communications coming to them through these orbs to tell them, hey, you know, everything's going to be okay.
yeah.
You've got this,
If you,
or downloads of information so that way you get assured up.
yeah,
Wow, I love that theory. Wow,
yeah,
that's
because
new. Good. I mean, that's new for
I
me, not for, I'm sure not for everybody, but just hearing that story, very,
because
very intriguing.
I've actually meditated and gone back to a place in time where I was hurting as a little girl, and felt like I'd connected with this little girl that was me, and gave her a hug and said everything's okay, you know. So you just don't know. It's, you know, we're in such a crazy reality at the moment with this awakening. Anything's possible.
Yeah. Well, we're seeing that. I mean, it's like so in our face now. How could we sit and deny what's going on right in front of our face? It's just
Yeah,
we need to learn not to get stuck in any of those and get so fascinated with it that we get stuck there. We want to
yeah,
always continuously be moving, just like
moving
current.
forward.
Yeah, we want to keep flowing and moving with the spirit as it flows and as information, comes in. And that's very interesting. I was a participant in a group meditation with Amber in the Flame, and was it a group meditation? I'm not sure, but um, I saw myself picking my parents. It's odd.
Really?
It was
Wow.
very odd. I remember I was picking my mom. I was picking my mom, and I was like, I'm picking my mom. How can I be doing this? What's going on? What's going on? What am I looking at? And it really, I was awake. With the guided meditate, when I meditate, by myself, I like to keep at least one hand on the wheel. If I can trust the group meditator, I'll let go and I'll go. I mean, I'll just
Yeah,
go while I'm awake. I will just go, just like it. When we're dreaming or in that lucid state, we've let go and we're observing. We're going through it. And so I had just completely let go, and I saw such amazing things that it's like, what? I mean, yeah, I'm like, is that my imagination or what am I seeing? But it couldn't be my imagination because my imagination, why would I imagine going back and picking my parent? Like
exactly.
I picked my mom. If I was gonna imagine, I'd be like, well, I imagine, the plants and trees, the fruit trees being plenty, and there's where my imagination goes. To beautiful landscaping and rainbows and butterfalls,
Yeah.
but no, this was something different. It was fascinating. It was absolutely fascinating. So, yeah, I'm not, I don't get the daytime lucidity, where I see things like that unless it's in a group style meditation. Because, like I said, I like to keep one hand on the wheel. But
Yeah.
nighttime, oh my goodness. And I am trying to vlog my dreams. So as time goes on, I can have other people watch them and see what, activates in them so they can, share what they think. And as we know, the dreamer is usually the one that comes up with it will resonate with it. But the help from others really
Yeah.
does help with coming, with the resolution of what this actually means, what's going on. And what I've noticed is a lot of times with the dreams, they are about the individual having them or people that are close to them in their life, or just or warnings, but to the dreamer. The people that are seeing, I don't, and I'm sure from watching Anna, that they're having these prophetic dreams and they're
Yeah.
seeing tsunamis or missiles or whatever coming in, but um, those weren't meant to be put out as a public warning. They're actually
For
talking about,
yourself. Yeah.
yeah, the state that you're in and what's going to be going on with you. You're going to feel like you're, in a tsunami or you just been hit by a missile, as everything that doesn't serve you or that was false is removed, and we cleave to things, or down the rabbit holes we go, and the truth comes in.
It's
You,
almost
yeah.
it's almost like they're on the edge of popping out and coming out to the other side.
Mhm.
It, their mindset is still in the tribulation, isn't it? And it's like, um, if they think they're in the tribulation, they will be. You know,
Yes, I was going
it's
to
all
ask
about
about that.
mind. It's all a mindset and perspective.
Do
And
you,
I see a lot of people on the edge, ready to pop out, as you say. You know,
what is your feelings about us being creating what's going on around us? What's your thoughts on that?
I think we're actually creating our own realities. Definitely, definitely. Um, I think if you've got something, um, if bad things are happening in your life, you sometimes need to question: Are you bringing that in? Are you bringing that on yourself? But it's all a lesson anyway. You
It's
know,
for the experience of it.
it's all experience. Maybe you need that lesson to learn and move and grow and expand. You know,
Yeah, but from going homeless, when I was younger, I can appreciate. I have more gratitude for things.
yeah,
For being in these accidents and this horrible suffering, I have empathy for people who are in pain. It's and it is like lessons, and we could be putting those lessons in place so we can physically experience them, so that way we can be the best versions of ourselves. And I think we do have a say so in what's going on, because what you know through the people I've talked to and the experiences that I've had myself, is what's going on in the micro is happening in the macro. So I see beautiful skies now with puffy white clouds. I, you know, I see beauty around me. And maybe somebody walking next to me can see something completely different. I
exactly. Yeah,
think it's in the perspective. Pat on the
definitely.
back said that she said as soon as her son could talk, he would always tell her that I picked you to be my mom.
Oh, isn't
And
that
that's
lovely?
sweet.
Oh,
Yeah, that's amazing. So there's an affirmation there for that meditation. And it's just I love synchronicities. I
ethnicities.
do. I do. Oh my gosh. Whether they're numeric or they're, verbal, or if they manifest
Oh, I do.
in life. Oh, I just love them. I just
I
love
do.
them.
I do. Yeah.
So so you do feel that we have a say so in what we're creating around us, even when we're in the darkness, we're still creating.
Yes,
So
definitely.
and then
Definitely.
as we wake up, we're shown that we can change things in the more positive way to benefit everybody around us, and be that light that you're meant to be. And so what do you feel about the shifting? Is people are saying we're going to shift into 5D. Do you feel that that is a one huge event, or that people are shifting in and out of that daily, personally, by the refinement period that they're each going through?
I think it's daily. For me, it is. Um, there's something in the Bible, isn't there, about the refiner's fire and the lake of fire? I think um, some people probably need more refining than others, but I do believe that a lot of the planets have a lot to do with energy shifts, because when, like, we've just been through a very intense energy, and I've really felt it. Apparently, we had an eclipse, and the planets were all aligning, and we had a lot of retrograding. I'm not an astrologer. I'm not really into all of that, but
Me neither, but we can feel it.
I'm thinking about it, and I can definitely feel it.
Yeah.
Things are changing in my life. It's silly things like, oh, I don't want to eat that anymore. I don't want to go there anymore. I don't want to wear that anymore. It's just, there's anxieties as well that have come up. but I believe they've come up to help me to look at what's going on in my life. Where has this anxiety come from? And then just to feel it and let it go.
And is it yours? Or is it
And is
somebody
it?
that's closely entangled with you that you're picking up because of the empathy? That seems to be
I'm
another
definitely an
thing.
empath.
Yeah, another thing that comes with this is the empathy of feeling what's going on with other people and then discerning whether or not it's yours or if it's somebody that you're closely, quantumly entangled with. So interesting. Okay. That's all I wanted to interject. Keep going.
Yeah, the energies have been very intense. A lot of crying. I believe that's healing. And I've noticed that I cry a lot coming up to a shift, and then when the shift has took place, the crying stops. So it's these waves of healing. You know. Cry, release, feel, release, and then feel better after the shift until the next time, if there is a next time.
I think it's for me. I get just super tired and just want to
Really tired,
sleep,
fatigue.
sleep, and then all of a sudden I'll just be like, "Yay, life is good." It's not that I think life is bad when I'm resting. I'm just resting through it. Resting. And we're all unique, and it's a narrow path because we're the only one on it. But the foundation of it and a lot of the symptoms and things that we feel and a lot of the refinement things that we go through are very, very similar to one another, which is showing us, it doesn't matter whatever man-made categories or boxes that we put out there. We're all one. We're one in this. And I think about the 100th monkey experiment, and you brought up the double slit experiment, and where an observer is watching, it'll act one way, but when you're not, it's sporadic and infinite. It just seemed like I said, in 2015, 2016, what is known as the Mandela effect, it just showed that a bunch of people popped awake and were able to see past. And even with that effect, it didn't care what color your skin was, didn't care what country you're in, didn't care what your religious beliefs. I mean, it's touched everything. Holy books, where the continents are, where the sun is now white. The sun's been white for a while. I remember that big, beautiful orange sun. It's gone. It's gone. White now. Only time you see it is maybe at sunrise and sunset. But it was there all day.
It was there all day. I remember as a kid. I remember the yellow. Well, it was yellowy orange, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm. It looked like a ball of fire in the sky.
I think the Mandela effect is waking people up. It's showing that reality is fluid and that nothing can be taken seriously. Christians can't take the word of God seriously because the word of God is Christ. It's not the actual ink on paper, you see.
Yeah, I can't worship that book because even that book got changed.
The book. No. What got me was the human anatomy changes. That was the one that really got me back in 2015. I couldn't believe that the stomach is now half under the rib.
And we've got a huge liver now, guys.
We've got a huge liver. We've got a huge liver. And lately, I don't know whether you've heard the latest one, our lungs now are slightly above our clavicle. I don't know whether you've seen that one.
Yeah, I heard about that last night. A friend of mine has not been feeling well. She's got a little bit of a chest cold. And they said something about, well, she should be feeling better because since her lungs are now, pushed up into her clavicle. And I was like, what? Oh my gosh. It's crazy.
And I don't know I haven't got an answer to whether it's malevolent or benevolent. And I don't know why the anatomy is changing. It's something I'm really fascinated with. But is it changing for the better, our body? You know, a
I
lot of
think
people saying that we're being upgraded.
that's the choice we can make. We can be afraid
Yeah,
of it, or we can embrace it with love. We always have a
yeah,
choice. And we're, and the testing is becoming, as we go along and refine, what these things will be put out there for us. And what are we going to choose? Are we going to go with the flow, or are we going to be afraid? I think about like the symbols, and that's why I made that flower of life up against the Q, which YouTube did not like. Oh my gosh, that was such an obvious oppression of view counts. And I mean, it was so in my face that I was like, oh my gosh, what the heck is going on? And all I did was, in that one was probably algorithm, because I put the Q map,
Oh
in the
yeah, I saw
description
that.
and stuff. Yeah.
I saw
And,
that.
but we talk about the symbols and things. And the symbols are not, satanic, um, or good. It is how you perceive it. All these power symbols or sigils or whatever has been put out there can be used for either purpose.
Yes,
So it's really a difficult thing to say that this symbol's evil and this one's good. The Christians wear a cross. Well, is that an evil symbol or is that a good symbol? Because
that's
so
a
do
good
the
answer.
Satanists.
Yeah,
Satanists wear a cross. So it's just a matter of interpretation and the use of whatever comes along with that sigil or symbol. Um, Anything can be used for the betterment of all mankind or for selfish reasons. What I find is people that use them for selfish reasons are unhappy, unfulfilled, and end up falling, flat on their face, uh,
yeah,
because of the universal justice system. It's not that we have to go after justice, we just unconditionally love, but the universe will make it right. As we're
yes,
going through this refinement and we're seeing for ourselves what can happen within us, um, we know. I mean, I have no doubt in my mind that the universe is more than capable of writing these things, and taking care of it and moving everybody along to the next. I look at it as an evolutionary state. We're going into a new age, the age of Aquarius, and with that new age. And even in the scripture, it talks about the what did Christ have? What Jesus was shown when he was talking to Moses and Elijah, I think, in the Mount of Transfiguration. He was transfigured before two of his disciples, who later became apostles, and they actually got to see his, his light body. And then he came back, and the light body faded, and he came back and was normal flesh and bone like everybody else. But if he transfigured there, because he went through his wilderness journey, he went through his refinement process, he did everything that, and he's the Son of God. So why would we fear these changes when they're in the scriptures, right?
yeah, yeah.
I don't know.
I think,
I'm just showing a different observation point, different way of looking at things, to broaden our perception and
yeah,
perspective on how we look at things. Anything can be put into one of two categories, or no category. No need to walk in balance, 0 point. Don't categorize any of it as good or bad. You polarize. If you polarize, then you're gonna fall. I mean, I
bet
have
your
to.
eye,
I'm sorry. I
bet your
didn't.
eye, no, no duality,
That's right.
non-duality. Yeah,
And that we are all one. Hey, you guys, you have any questions for her? Because we're almost out of time. Can you believe it? Okay, let me do a shout out to the room. Let me see. I think there's a way I can get a list. Here we go. Let's see. Okay, we've got Dead GPK, Glowing's Me, Ice Flake, Olivia Luke, Pink Coffee, Pretty Dark, T. Taylor, and the Carp. That's not the whole list of people that have been in the chat. I think I found a little cheater's way of finding the participants that have been active, like maybe within the last 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So I can just read down the list to make sure that I address everybody, because it's important, because we're all in this together. Hi, Tanya. So you guys have any, okay. So we touched on shift. You want to get into just a little bit of quantum before we have to sign out? What your thoughts are on the quantum? I watched a very fascinating video by you. So, I mean,
which one was that one?
It was like the third one in.
About quantum jumping. Was that?
Well, it was about everything. You touched on a lot of really heavy understandings. With a lot of clarity.
I can't remember half the videos, you know.
I know you put
when you make them, you kind of put them out of your mind, don't you?
Well, some of yours are up to 3 years old. Now, I didn't go to those. I went to your most recent ones, and I think it was put out maybe a month ago, or because then I saw there was 2 others. One was like 2 weeks ago. One was like a week ago, and then you made your announcement for this today. But yeah, I wanted to see. I knew I watched it before when we talked several months ago, but I wanted to refresh a little bit, so I knew, a little bit about you, and so, or I wouldn't be doing my job as being a good host to bring forward the information from that you've got. And I'm telling you guys, she's very interesting, and the information she puts out on her channel, very informative, and we're just skimming the surface of it. And she does talk about shifting and quantum, and those are the topics that she enjoys, along with several others. So, and remember, all that's in the show more notes. So I know we touched on the quantum entanglement a bit in the Flower of Life, but and I think maybe we did already touch on quantum, because you were talking about that we can change our realities at any time, kind of shift in and out. So that would be quantum entanglement. And so with the blue orb coming back to help the baby, that would be, going, quantum entanglement with yourself to, from the story you heard from the other woman. So interesting. But if you have anything to add, because we are at an hour.
Really, it's gone really quick, actually. Just to say that, everything that we do in life, humanity has an error in thinking and perspective. Just basically to stay in the heart, go with the flow, meditate, and that's it, really. Know that you are the Christ light. And that you were created perfect. And the only time that you think you're bad, or you think the world is bad, is because of it's all a mind. A mindset. My mind's gone blank, actually. It's a mindset and a perspective. You can walk out and you can either see a miracle or you don't, so look for the good in everything, and the good will come your way. And just thank you for having me on, Michelle, and love to everybody that's love to everybody that's been listening. I find it hard to talk in an interview sometimes. It's like I don't get the flow as I do when I'm on my own videos. I don't know why. I suppose that I'm a bit nervous about everybody listening, but yeah.
Well, this one
I'm
wasn't
hoping.
too terribly painful, was it? If the
No,
time flew
no,
by, you were having a good time.
no, I enjoyed it. Just a little bit nervous, that's all.
Most people say that. I don't know why. And then afterwards,
Yeah,
they're like, okay, I'll come back on. I want to come back
yeah.
because it's like after they're like, oh, I should have shared this. Oh,
I
I
should
should
have
have said
said
that.
that. I should have. I
Yeah.
know. I think the nerves block, you know. And I did
It happens.
meditating before I came on as well, but I think nerves stop the flow sometimes.
Yes, and over time you get comfortable. I was, as you know, afraid to. I didn't like the way I looked, didn't like the way I sounded, and I was afraid of public speaking. So this is an avenue of me overcoming that, and
Yeah.
it's turning out wonderfully, and I've met the most beautiful people. Hey, you guys, if you are willing to come and give your testimony, the email address is down below in the show more notes. So if you contact me, we'll set something up, because this is all about getting to know one another and sharing with each other what we know, so we can all listen and grow, and take what resonates with you and leave the rest. And every time anybody comes on, I do display their channel on my homepage. And as new ones come on, the old ones fall off, but you'll get stuck on that homepage of mine for a few months at least, because I like to try and do about 2 a week, keep things fresh and things moving along. And always that live call-in show on Saturdays. We just love doing that one. That one will get better. I will be better at, the troll alert, cutting them off. So yeah, and her channel is down in the show more notes, and it will be on my homepage. So look for it there. Subscribe to her. And I'm going to have Sharon mute for just a second, and I will do the finish up. Thank you guys for all coming. I appreciate you so very much. I love you all. We're all in this together. Thank you for coming to this episode of Michelle's Opinions. We're in this together. Like, share, and subscribe. If you'd like, you can sponsor the channel for as little as a cup of coffee a month. Bookmark this page. Just in case something happens here, you'll be able to find me there free. I will see you all soon.